Most people walk through life without realizing they're being tested every day. Not tested by fate, not by chance, but by other people, by their words, by their silences, by the way they treat you when they think you won't push back. And here's the truth: how you respond decides everything. Respect, influence, even love, it all begins with what you allow and what you refuse. Most people go through life without ever really seeing themselves. They are surrounded by noise, by constant motion, by people telling them what to do, who to be, and what to value. And yet, if you strip it all away, if you silence the voices for a moment, you would see how many men and women spend their days like shadows, circling around the same thoughts, chasing the same comforts, reacting to the same fears. They repeat the same patterns, convinced that they are moving forward, when in truth they are pacing in a small cage. You can tell this by how quickly they reach for distractions. The second silence arrives, they drown it in a screen, a drink, or a conversation that means nothing. They cannot sit alone without restlessness pressing against their chest. They cannot resist the urge to be noticed, to be validated, to be told they matter. But what they fail to recognize is that the more desperately you seek recognition, the less value you carry in the eyes of others. Attention given freely is attention wasted. This is why so many find themselves ignored, mistreated, or overlooked. They give too much. They speak when silence would have carried more weight. They argue with people who have no interest in truth, only in being loud. They smile when they don't want to, say yes when their gut screams no, and stay present when walking away would have been wiser. They call this kindness, or patience, or humility, but the truth is harsher. It is weakness disguised as virtue. The first thing to understand is that not everyone deserves your time. The world does not owe you fairness, and not every person who crosses your path comes with good intentions. Some test you just to see how far you will bend. Some disrespect you because they sense you won't stop them. And others feed on your constant availability, knowing that no matter how poorly they treat you, you will remain there, waiting like an open door. But a person who is always available slowly drains themselves of mystery. What is easy to reach loses its worth. A chair always empty at the table, a phone that always answers on the first ring, a smile that appears at the slightest request. These are taken for granted. If you want to know how people truly see you, step away for a while. Say less, appear less, offer less. Watch how quickly some grow unsettled by your absence, and you will know how dependent they were on your presence. Yet silence is not merely about withholding words. It is about withholding your reaction. When insulted, when dismissed, when someone seeks to provoke you into a storm, nothing unsettles them more than your calm refusal to play along. Anger is the easiest energy to control. The moment you raise your voice, the other person knows they have succeeded in dragging you down. But if you remain unmoved, if your face carries no reaction, you turn their weapons blunt. They find themselves striking at air. Still, silence must be sharpened by judgment. Not every offense deserves to be ignored. There are times when walking away is strength, and there are times when confronting directly is necessary. The challenge lies in knowing the difference. Many confuse pride with power. They think shouting louder, demanding attention, proving a point in every argument, is what earns respect. But true power is selective. It knows when to engage and when to withdraw. It does not waste itself on every fool who demands an answer. The same rule applies to the company you keep. People mirror one another without realizing it. Spend enough time around the bitter, and bitterness will seep into your bones. Sit with the idle long enough, and your ambition dulls. Surround yourself with those who mock discipline, and soon discipline feels unnecessary. The opposite is also true. Place yourself near people who carry dignity in their actions, who do not beg for attention, who know the value of their own silence, and you will rise without even trying. The danger is that most cannot let go. They cling to relationships long after they should have ended, convinced that loyalty means enduring mistreatment. But loyalty has meaning only when it is mutual. Otherwise it is servitude. You can spend years pouring your time into someone who does not see you, who does not hear you, who does not value you. And when they leave, as they often do, you will wonder why you feel so empty. The answer is simple. You gave everything away for free. So how do you deal with those who don't respect you? Not with endless explanations, not with desperate attempts to prove yourself, not by lowering yourself to their level in anger. You deal with them by removing their access to you, by placing distance, by refusing to play the role they expect you to play. Respect cannot be begged or forced. It must be inspired, and sometimes the only way to inspire it is by absence, by silence, by teaching others that your presence is not guaranteed. If a person insults you once, watch carefully. If they insult you twice, remember it. And if they insult you a third time, remove yourself from their reach. Do not give fourth chances to those who make a habit of crossing your boundaries. Every time you forgive what is unforgivable, you teach them that you can be stepped on. People learn how to treat you by what you allow. If you allow disrespect, you will receive more of it. If you allow yourself to be overused, you will be drained dry. None of this means you must become cold or bitter. It does not mean you must treat the world with suspicion. It means you must carry yourself with weight, with presence, with an aura that says, I am here, but not cheaply. My time is given, not stolen. My attention is chosen, not demanded. My silence is not weakness, it is judgment. When you carry yourself this way, those who do not respect you cannot stay long. They either adjust their behavior or remove themselves. But you must also accept a hard truth. Some people will never respect you, no matter what you do. And that is fine. Your worth is not tied to their recognition. Their blindness is not your burden. The world is full of the blind, stumbling around, calling others worthless, because they cannot see value in themselves. If you bend yourself, trying to be seen by the blind, you will break. It is better to be unseen and at peace than to be visible and constantly disrespected. The man who spends his life chasing approval becomes hollow. The one who learns to live without it becomes unshakable. Ask yourself which one you would rather be. Ask yourself if your time is best spent explaining, proving, defending, or if it is better spent in silence, watching, choosing, and when needed, walking away. The answer, if you are honest, will guide you toward the kind of presence that cannot be ignored, even when it speaks no words. What most people do not see is that life is not measured by the noise you make, but by the weight you carry in silence. Anyone can speak. Anyone can argue. Anyone can demand. But very few know how to let their presence speak for them. It is not volume that commands respect. It is composure. It is the way you hold yourself when others lose control. It is the calm in your face when provocation comes. It is the certainty in your eyes that no insult can shake, no rejection can reduce. The temptation is always to respond. You feel the heat rise in your chest, the words forming on your tongue, the desire to set the record straight. But the wiser part of you knows that most of these battles are empty. You win nothing by correcting a fool. You gain nothing by matching another's anger. What you win instead is exhaustion, wasted time, wasted energy, wasted dignity. Better to leave them to their own noise, their own echoes. Better to let them believe what they want, while you continue moving forward, untouched. Consider how many hours of life are lost this way: endless debates, endless arguments, endless attempts to convince those who have no desire to be convinced. Entire friendships dissolve over words that never should have been spoken. Families break under the weight of pride that refuse to stay silent. Lovers part ways not because love is gone, but because neither could resist the urge to win every argument. Words are powerful, but they are also heavy. Once spoken, they cannot be retrieved. Once unleashed, they create scars that silence would have prevented. There is a reason the strongest figures in history were not those who shouted the loudest, but those who could stand still in the storm. The generals, the philosophers, the thinkers who left their mark. Many of them wrote little, spoke less, and yet their presence carried across centuries. They understood that mystery is power, that what is hidden often has greater weight than what is constantly revealed, that a man who speaks sparingly is remembered more than the man who speaks endlessly. And yet, silence is not passivity. It is not surrender. It is not the same as doing nothing. True silence is active. It is a choice, a strategy, a weapon. It shapes how others see you. It unsettles those who depend on your constant reaction. It builds an aura around you, one that forces people to lean in, to wonder what you are thinking, to feel that you know more than you reveal. Think of the difference between the man who interrupts every conversation and the one who listens, waiting, watching. The first is forgotten the moment he leaves the room. The second lingers in memory because restraint carries weight. And this is the weight you must carry if you wish to live with dignity. You do not need to be everywhere. You do not need to be heard at every moment. You do not need to respond to every hand that waves at you. Your worth is not measured in how available you are, but in how carefully you choose to give yourself. But to live this way requires discipline. The world will constantly tempt you to break your silence. Friends will push you to justify your choices. Enemies will provoke you to defend yourself. Strangers will bait you into conflict for their own amusement. And in those moments, you must remember, not all battles are worth fighting, not all voices are worth answering, not all people deserve your attention. Your attention is expensive. Your time is expensive. Your peace is expensive. Give it freely, and you will soon find yourself bankrupt. What then should you do with those who drain you? The answer is simple, though rarely easy. You remove them, not with grand speeches or dramatic exits, but with distance. Slowly, quietly, you step back. You stop explaining. You stop showing up where you are not valued. You stop giving endless chances to those who see you only as convenience. Over time, they will notice your absence. And if they do not, then you will know the truth. You were never valued there to begin with. People may call this harsh, but it is not cruelty. It is clarity. To continue pouring yourself into the ungrateful is cruelty to yourself. To let others use your patience until nothing is left is cruelty to your own spirit. The world has no shortage of takers. If you do not learn how to protect your time, no one will protect it for you. You must set the limits. You must decide where your energy goes. And the moment you stop apologizing for that, you will see how quickly your life begins to change. This is not about living in isolation. It is not about turning cold or shutting yourself off. It is about alignment. When you give to those who appreciate it, your giving grows. When you speak to those who truly listen, your words gain weight. When you are present with those who respect your presence, your silence feels full rather than empty. The key is not to give less, but to give wisely. Not to withdraw from life, but to choose carefully where you invest it. And this is where many fail. They confuse being liked with being valued. They chase admiration rather than respect. They want to be seen by everyone rather than known by the few who matter. But admiration is shallow, and being liked is fragile. The same crowd that applauds you today may laugh at you tomorrow. But those who respect you, those who see the weight of your presence, will not be swayed by gossip, by lies, or by fleeting moods. Respect is slower to earn, but once earned, it endures. So ask yourself, are you living to be liked, or are you living to be respected? Do you spend your days giving away your time to everyone who asks, or do you reserve it for those who have proven themselves worthy? Do you explain yourself endlessly, or do you let your silence reveal who you are? Your answers to these questions shape your entire life. In the end, the measure of a person is not how many words they spoke or how many arguments they won, but how they carried themselves in moments of pressure. Did they rise to every provocation, or did they remain unshaken? Did they demand attention, or did they command it without speaking? Did they cheapen themselves by giving everything away, or did they hold their value like something rare? Remember this, you are teaching others how to treat you every moment. You are teaching them whether your time is precious or disposable, whether your presence is a gift or a guarantee, whether your silence is power or weakness. And once you understand this, you will no longer allow the wrong people to decide your worth. You will know it yourself. Carry yourself with weight. Speak less. Listen more. Walk away when needed. Refuse to explain yourself to those who do not deserve it. Protect your attention, your time, your peace. In doing so, you will discover something remarkable. The more you withhold, the more you are respected. The less you chase, the more you are sought, and the quieter you become, the louder your presence will echo.